Hi, I'm Kelly at Book and Paper Arts, and today I have a video showing how to use scraps of paper from previous projects to fill up your journal pages. In yesterday's video, I actually made two tiny miniature books from scraps of paper that I just had on hand. One has a sewn binding, and the other is made with a concertina fold or an accordion fold. So if you'd like to see how those got made, check out the video right before this one. It's there. Today I'm just going to use more scraps, bibs and bobs, to make pretty pages. Not so much a tutorial, it's just going to work and talk about collage and mixed media as we go along. If you like journal arts, if you like book and paper arts, please subscribe to my YouTube channel and be sure and turn on the notifications by hitting the little bell. And you will have more of them in your life. Let's go play with scraps. If you think you can hear wind, you are right. This is Wales and it is a windy one today. So enjoy the Welsh sound effects. I don't have a plan here. I am going to just start picking up scraps and seeing which ones work in which book. I'm using a glue stick. You could also use craft glue or what you will. But since these are small pieces, I actually like working with a glue stick. Let's see. This delicate thing is just from a couple of weeks ago when I made stiffened paper out of paper napkins. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to put that down there and leave some of that hanging off for texture. So this is just a piece of paper napkin that I stiffened with paste and then coffee. And now that's already going to add some texture. And then we can put something on top of that. Let's see. Aha. These are bird's eggs that I printed up on tracing paper, which is kind of like a vellum that you get at the office supply store. So you know what I'm going to do? You can tell I already used that for other projects. I'm going to cut a couple of these out and be right back. One of the things about working with this prints on this vellum is that it wants to curl up and roll itself up. You know, why did I do that? Let's make it asymmetrical, add a little interest. That's better. So make sure that if you're working with something like this, you make sure it's nice and flat. And then I'm going to close that for just a minute and let that set. While we do that, while that's setting, let's look at this book. Actually have a little bit more flexibility here because of the concertina fold. It's going to give us a little more room. And in fact, that's tempting. I'm going to think about that. Okay, I have decided I am going to use this book in a vertical format. So this is from a magazine. And I'm going to tear that. And then glue that in. And just put it against the fold gently. There we go. Now for a little bit of accent, I have some butterflies that I used to make a border in a different piece, and I fussy cut out one of the little ones. And I'm just gonna put that there. Let's see. Let that go there. And then there's I actually just had half of a butterfly. I don't want to waste half a butterfly. Half of a purple butterfly. So let's glue that, and then we can put that yeah, why not put that there. I want to do another vertical layout here. And I have some scraps from, this is vintage. These were end papers in an old dictionary. And boy, is that beautiful. So what I'm going to do is put this here, glue that in, and then I want a focal point. And I had this bird watching magazine, and I just tore that out. And there's a little guy. I'm going to add him. And then, I'm not sure, I actually also tore this out of another nature magazine. I think that might make a good focal point. So I'm going to cut that out of this scrap. Okay, so there he goes. And now I have this shell, which could kind of be a sort of a weird sun kind of image, something celestial. And then while I was at it, I also had this image from a nature magazine, and I cut out some of these berries. I think I'm going to put those on there too. Your fussy cutting skills for something this small are really going to get a workout in a good way. So I actually have a video just about fussy cutting tips and hacks, and I'm going to link to that video that's here on YouTube. I'll link to it in the text box below, and then if you want to know more about fussy cutting, how-tos, it's there. And I'm starting to be pretty happy with this book. Back to the sewn journal. If you've seen my work, you know that I work with a lot of religious iconography. I don't know. And I have tons and tons, boxes of scraps of angels and saints and whatnot. And a lot of them are actually too small to be practical in a full-size collage. But I find it hard to throw saints and angels away. So I'm going to be reusing some of those today. Okay, she is going to be sitting there sideways. You can see I've let this hang over a little bit. And that's just the style of the book. I want pages to peek over the edges and be happy and messy. You know what? I think that might be good there with some text. Nope, not there. There. Facing the text. And then I might add some stenciling here in a few minutes. I changed my mind. As I was rifling through my scrap pile, I found these stamps. They are not precious. They're not even that charming, but I got them at you know, flea market for, I think, 50 pence for 100 of them. But they do make nice embellishments or top points. So why don't we add a couple of stamps here, which is, even though this is very small, you can still see this is picking up the browns in the tea dye tones and in some of the pieces of the image. For the next layout in the accordion book, I have this fragment of a magpie, wandering pie. And again, it's such a great image, but it's too small to be practical normally. Here it's gigantic. So what I'm going to do is sticker cut this so that it will fit on this page, and I'm going to give it a background. This scrap is from its proper rice paper with handwritten Japanese script. I'm probably holding it wrong. Okay. But it does look beautiful on a page, so I'm going to put some of this down for my background and add this guy. Well, the background is looking good, but when I added Mr. Wandering Pie, he's kind of swallowed up by all of the calligraphy. So again, I'm going through here and I found another one of these pieces that's kind of small for an ordinary collage, but just happens to fit this one perfectly. So, but you know what I'm actually going to go ahead and pre-bend her a little bit so that she can feed into that fold a little more. There we go. There we go. So when I put this down now across this fold, you don't want to pull, I know this is a messy book, but you don't want to pull an image too tightly across the gutter there, or the seam. Because then when you close the book and open it, it's very likely to just pop right there in the middle. So I've given her a little fold. And now I'm going to feed this paper into the fold just a smidgen. So now when the book is opened, there's going to be more give. I do think that this wandering pie can just wander right over here to the sewn book. And this is some handwriting, but it's pretty pale, more of a sepia, and it's not swallowing him quite so much. It's just giving him a nice, some texture and interest there. So that's going to look good. Now I've got two more things that I want to add to this book. Again, this is a paper napkin that was stiffened with paste. And it's just so beautiful with the dusty roses, and added a little bit of a coffee tint there. And I'm just going to glue these in, very rough with rough edges. And that's going to be my page. I'm not going to add another focal point. It's just going to be a pretty page. Here is, this is from an old magazine, black and white magazine called The Girl's Own Paper. And sometimes they have these flower images. Well, I like these. There was no way I was ever going to fussy cut out that many tiny water lilies. Ever. But I can rough tear them and then add them to a page in this book, and they're going to be just right. Ta-da. Those are going to fit nicely there. But to make them fit, I had to tear off one of the little baby water lilies. And you know what? I'm going to add it back to the corner here. And just let that be a kind of embellishment, a little bit of a note. Like that. I actually went back to the image and tore out a few more of the water lilies. That little top note looked a little lonely. And you can see I'm not trying to really make sense of any narrative. Sometimes adorable, beautiful, torn water lilies are just that. And so we just have this rough collage now. Back to the concertina book. I have some old, this is from a ledger, handwritten ledger. And I'm going to put it down like this. And then over it, I'm going to add some more of those bird's eggs that are on that tracing paper. Because when the tracing paper is glued down, you're going to see the text come out from underneath, which is going to add a lot of texture and layer. So I'm going to tear that to size and glue all those down. I've got the text glued down, and now I'm going to add those bird's eggs. Again, when you're working with this kind of vellum tracing paper stuff, you've got to be quick and make a tight seal, or it will roll up on you. But if you let it know who's boss, you're going to be fine. So I'm going to let that set for a moment. But I also want to show you, again, making scraps from scraps, because I tore off part of that. And now what's left is these cool, letters on the side, because this was a ledger that would have been for alphabetizing people's names. And I'm going to take that and add it to this book. That scrap had another scrap. So I'm going to put that that small little piece with that handwriting peeking out on this smaller page. And I'm going to give it a little bit of a focal point to kind of interact with this sideways saint. And that is, I remember cutting this bird out about 12 years ago. And you would think that a hummingbird would go just about anywhere. But I've been waiting to add it where it really needs to go. And I'm pretty sure that's right there. So we'll glue him in. The handwriting is still showing. That's going to offset that a little bit and make the background more interesting. And that's a fun layout. Over here, let's go back to the concertina book. And I have something that I call dictionary smalls. And you best believe I have a truckload of old dictionaries. I like them because of these little tiny images that go with the definitions. And I just call them dictionary smalls. And I'm going to rough tear that so that it fits here in the concertina book. Some little stickers that I trimmed from a French document. And that goes there. And again, I'm letting the wings hang off just a bit, just to add some texture when the book is closed. I don't want it to hang over that much. And then to sort of pick up the blues, I've got another butterfly from that scrap I'm going to put over here. This is from a coffee table book of Encyclopedia of Butterflies. Let's see. That I use all the time. Here's a piece that from some ruins that I printed up on tissue paper, and I wasn't happy with the quality for putting it in an altered book, but I think it will be fine here. Again, I didn't want to waste it. I just didn't know where it went. This is from a coffee table book. And let's see. No. I'll have to keep looking for something to go with this guy. Here is a tiny scrap from that ledger a minute ago. Let's see. Put it across there. It's just the right narrowness to make a border with just enough handwriting to make it really interesting and to break up that page. And this is also a little snippet from the Girl's Own Paper, An Independent Gentlewoman. And again, this long line made me think that that would make a cool, rough, torn border across a couple of these pages. There we go. So I'll fold that so it has a little give in the middle, because that is not a flat gutter. And then glue that down. Maybe you've got some scraps of fabric or lace or ribbon. This is again, a piece that I've had for yonks, and I just not quite sure what to do with it. Since I don't work with fabric a lot, although I'm learning. I think next year I'm going to be doing more with fabric in books. But today, let's go with, I cut out a piece of that, just messy cut. And this is that accordion book. And now I'm going to glue that in just like that. That's going to be my whole layout. And when I trimmed that, I had this, I don't know, what do you call that? Border stuff. And I can put that here. I am still going to use my glue stick, but lots of it. One of my favorite kinds of scraps is found text. And in this case, I had this old big print version of Peter Pan from the 70s. And the cover was super beat up, so I got it for like 50p at a car boot sale. And from time to time, I will just go and look for text that can be taken out of context and used for a story or a narrative or mystery. And yesterday, some of you saw this in my stash and commented on it. So, you know what? Why don't we take this? I don't know what the story is, but I know that we've got some wings here and some pretty marbled paper there. And now if we add this scrap to those scraps, I'm going to put it a little asymmetrically towards the bottom. Let it hang off the edge. And we now have a kind of a, if it's not a story, it's an idea for one. I have been thinking of doing a short video about where to find and how to use found text in collage and mixed media work. So if you think that would be something you're interested in, please let me know in the comments and I can get started on that. Now, I think you're getting the idea here with how to fill up your mini journals, or indeed any journal, with scraps. So let's have a little flip through here of the concertina book that is now working in a vertical format. And remember, if you're working in an accordion book, you've got the whole other side to work on. I think if this wasn't for a video, I would probably be leaving every other one open for a little bit of writing and actual written journaling. But you can, do whatever your style is. These are free form and they're very, very forgiving. And needless to say, they make really great one-of-a-kind presents. They don't cost much, but it will be handmade by you. So that would be, somebody would be delighted to get that as a gift. If you have any questions or any feedback, please let me know in the comments below. I love to compare notes. Until next week, happy making.